As we now have, spawning up to the top right-hand corner, our red Zerg representing Mouse Sports. It is Vortix. And up to the top left-hand corner, our blue Protoss representing XMG. It's Lilbow.
Just 18 years old. From France. He's practiced a little bit with Todd, stayed at his house for a few days when he first joined XMG and did some training. But here he is ready to perform. He's obviously practiced a lot as mentioned, so let's see what he's going to bring to the table here. But Vortix, just traditionally against Protoss, has been absolutely incredible against different types of attacks.
Yeah.
He spots it almost always, he defends against it almost always, and then if you can't defeat him early, he has a very, very good mid to late game as well. So I think Vortix obviously coming into this is a big, big favorite.
All right, now Lilbow's lining up to go for a gold base by the looks of that pylon. We'll see what he wants to do. It could just be for anything early. Vortix has been known in the past to go for early pulls if he would like to, but I think realistically going into this series, Vortix is going to play, especially this first game out, very, very standard and like bring his normal game to this. So I won't be surprised if we saw Lilbow go for a gold base on this map.
Absolutely, I was going to bring that up. This is the map where every single game recently that we've seen Protoss versus Zerg, the Protoss has opted to go for the gold base, whether it be for a robotics facility play, whether it be just for normal game style. But even if they don't take it early on, as in super early on as their second base, they end up taking it quite fast with their third. So we'll see what he's prepared and how he's going to approach this, because we do have Vortix going for an early spawning pool here. And I think that was like 13, sir? I think that was 14, 14, 13, 13. So gas and then spawning pool. And this is obviously, I think, more so in preparation for a Protoss player taking a gold base here. Get Zergling speed early, get out early, and that's going to be interesting. I don't think Lilbow would have practiced against a Zerg player who opens up like this. This is very uncommon and almost just expecting that gold base to be taken.
It's as if then the probe did a double take and he was like, oh, there's a pool there. And he's like, wait a minute, I have to go back and actually check how quickly that was done. As Vortix now, he spots everything that's going on. But you're entirely right. I mean, this is really cool to see from Vortix so early on in this game, because it's been such a prevalent strategy that we're seeing from Protoss. And now this might make Lilbow think twice about actually doing it.
Yeah, Vortix sacrifices a bit of economy here to obviously build the extractor to take 3 away from mining minerals so early on, but in return he gets Zergling speed very, very early, which is great against a lot of different aggressive openings from Lilbow, and of course taking the gold base. And through different experiences, and, oh dearie me, oh, little wheel, what I think, Kalaris, that is and could happen here is this could throw Lilbow's game plan off. Because I don't think he's expecting, obviously, a build like this, and it may be able to put a bit of pressure on him.
Well, for now, we'll just get through this whilst these guys send Zerglings out.
Jumpy-wumpy, isn't it?
Yeah, we're not having the best of times for some reason. So, anyway. Aside from that, I'm very interested to see how Lilbow's going to deal with this group, because this group is incredibly stacked. He got thrown in the lion's den with this one, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what's going on here.
No, nor do I.
A couple of hiccups.
It feels relatively similar to what we had at the day number 1, actually.
Yeah.
There's you, there's me, there's you, there's me.
To me, to you, to me, to you.
And nobody outside of England gets that at all.
Yeah.
Was that ever on outside of England? I'm pretty sure it wasn't.
No.
Oh, people have been missing out, Sean.
What was it called? The show that they used to be on.
Oh,
it was obviously the two guys.
The Chuckle Brothers.
The Chuckle Brothers.
The Chuckle Brothers.
Was it? Yeah, the show was called the Chuckle Brothers. Yeah.
Chuckle Vision.
Chuckle Vision.
Oh,
like you got it there.
I was about to start singing.
All the Americans.
Not to.
Oh God. All the Americans like, is that a funny English thing for Nickelodeon or Nickelvision or whatever? No. It's an English TV show. We are just holding out, by the way, to see what's going on with our PCs and stuff.
I'm impressed that none of the players have actually said anything, actually. They're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, they're just kind of like, all right, we saw this happen the other day. We'll give them a couple of minutes. You can't do anything, Lars. You're an observer, man.
No, sorry. I want to say something.
Well, we started really up to beat, and we were going for it. We were, in rhythm, and then this happened. But it seems like it may be starting to stabilize a little bit here.
further away from your main. But now let's jump right back into things as we have those Lings now making their way across. He's going to take his expansion behind this. This is by no means some crazy all-in from Vortix. It's just a poke to try and delay and disrupt his opponent's initial strategy.
Yeah, if he sees the gold base taken, he'll build a lot of Lings and break it down because there just simply aren't enough units out there in time.
Yeah.
And we're even seeing a Chronoboost go into the second Zealot here. That's interesting because he's like kind of a little bit scared about this. So it looks like he will expand with like 2 Zealots in the Mothership core to protect himself. If there were 6 Lings or 8 Link, he doesn't really know how many there are going to be. So,
and he's scouting down all the bottom side of the map here, looking for this probe, which does eventually get spotted by this Overlord. He's going to bring back that Ling and keep that shoot away. But interestingly enough, look at this. Lilbow is now throwing a pylon down at his natural.
Yeah,
this is how disrupted he was because he absolutely had plans of going for that gold.
All right, well, he's going to take his regular base from this point on, and he's got to play this very cautiously. 2 Zealots and a Sentry. He doesn't know at any point, are we going to see a lot more units come out from Vortix. And he didn't even spot the 3rd base going down, if you see through his vision. So he's playing this very blind, but very cautiously. He's got a good wall now, and even walls before taking the Nexus here. Double gateway, and then build the Nexus here. Because if there were a lot of units, then I don't think he'd be able to hold with so few units.
And this, I mean, just in general, in terms of how a series is going to play out, I feel this is a great start for Vortix. I really do. He's behind this. He's just going to be droning. He's going to be on his 3 bases. He knows he's delayed his opponent's expansion as well as, again, throwing him off a little bit. But will we see Lilbow put on 4-gate pressure? Because this could hit pretty hard. Yeah,
well, he's got 3 gateways to add up to 4. And it seems so with that hidden probe down the bottom as well. But we do have a Roach Swarm coming in here for Vortix. Which is going to help out a lot against any type of aggression here. But surprisingly enough, that he let this probe get away. But is he going to find it now? He's got a lot of Lings around.
And one's heading down there, and he doesn't spot it because of this weird rally point up to the main, this expansion.
He is looking around for it. He knows it was out there somewhere. And definitely didn't see it go back. Oh. Ooh.
He didn't see it. He didn't see it. All right, that's annoying.
I mean, he's seen the 4-gate. He's seen the 3 extra gateways. He just doesn't know where this attack is coming. There's 3 sentries down there.
That's an interesting committal. Because at the 3rd base, it's actually there's not a huge play. There's not good spots to actually wall off with force fields. So this is going to be an interesting little route he's going to take.
All right. Well, it's been spotted now. He knows where it's coming from, but there's already quite a few 3 roaches and 4 more coming out too. There's going to be a lot of force field with this, and that Overlord is going down. Is going to hurt him a little bit as well if that does go down.
Yeah, he needs another one out there. He's going to start working away, though, with these Roaches. He has to be careful with the Roaches. If they get pinned up against force fields with Zealots there as well, it's going to be a poor Roach sandwich, and they're not going to have the best of times.
He's got more than enough units to stop this Sentry Zealot push, I think.
Yeah. Unless some great force fields were to happen. But he's getting so many units. He's getting those extra Zerglings out. He had speed out very nicely
this is
as
not
well.
a massive commitment from Lilbow. He's Chronoboosting into the Nexus 2 and probably take his gases and tech in a minute. So he's not looking to break the 3rd base, and he shouldn't be able to. But this keeps the drone count very, very low for Vortix. So if he just recalls here, then this is really good. I mean, he can try and get a bit of damage with the Sentry energy that he has. He's taken the gases, by the way. Vortix spots all of this. So I'm surprised that he isn't going back to droning. Only just now adding the first 2 drones. But it's 41 probes to 33. This is really, really good. 3 extra gateways coming down by Lilbow here. He may just continue, go back with his units maybe, or just keep on adding on, to be honest. I mean, he doesn't need to go back unless he's forced back.
These Lings might... Well, no, I think with that force field, he should be okay, as long as Lilbow's paying attention.
Yep, that was nice and fast too. Nice reactions.
Yep. So he's just going to keep warping in. There's the layer on the way, but I mean, this is a really good point that you bring up. If he keeps going with this, and if Vortix sees a threat, he hit with the 4-gate so quickly that the drone count wasn't really there to support a sustained push. It eventually will be able to push this off if it was just a 4-gate and then a fallback, but...
It's now a 7-gate, and Vortix knows this, by the way. Just keep that in mind. He's seen everything so far.
So he has to take a bit of a fight and try and trade some of this off. Good force fields will catch a lot of those Roaches at the front, but they don't manage to seal them in fully. Has to throw down another force field, whilst the Roaches from the back are trying to swing around here. Some of the Roaches from the low ground are actually getting a lot of those sentries with a lot of energy as well. I think Vortix is going to be fine.
Yeah, I'm surprised there was no time warp used.
Yeah. If he would have actually landed that on the ramp and stopped those Roaches from advancing on, then he could have saved a lot of those sentries.
And now he's really low on units here. He obviously can keep warping in, but so can Vortix. There's the first time up. I think he forgot about that.
Perhaps. Well, he pushes on once again. He has a lot of Stalkers, but all he needs to do now is make a lot of Lings, and it's going to be really, really difficult for Lilbow's army to deal with.
Yeah. Remember that Lilbow still has a better economy here than Vortix, so doesn't need to rush into this. Just keep on, increasing his army count. and build it sentries once again. But Vortix with his roach speed is going to make it a lot easier for him to engage here. As all he needs to do is stop this attack. Likewise, Lilbow just needs to break his opponent.
And he's going to continue on. I mean, that's a lot of firepower that the Stalkers actually have, because there's just in general quite a lot of them. And he's trying to lure it back. 4 force fields does get quite a few of those units that have to retreat on out. All the time whilst they're retreating out, they're not doing damage. So Vortix now is down in terms of supply. This could go in Lilbow's favor quite easily.
Yep, just got to keep on taking the good fight.
And he needs to bring a few of those Zealots to the front, though. They are choked up against those Stalkers. So
yeah, good micro so far from Lilbow.
Doing very well for himself. It's only 18 roaches is quite a lot, but against this army, as long as there's a few more force fields in this, it's going to be scary for Vortix to deal with.
7 more Zealots.
Jeez.
He might be ready for a fight in a minute. There we go. There's a time warp.
And he's going to chase on down. These Zealots at the back aren't really getting to this target that they need to, but there they go. As these Stalkers, all they have to do is keep barraging away. The Zealots will end up dying off. Drones come off the line here as well. Vortix feels a little bit scared here, and I'm not surprised. Yeah,
this is really good play here from Lilbow. A nice strategy. Keep the Zerg player drone count low from the very beginning with his first moving out, and keep it low. Always threatening the attack here.
Yeah.
And he's going to move in again. He just has, like I said, a better army. He can add on an 8th gateway here.
And he's always retaining the Stalkers. The resources lost is very much in favor of Lilbow here, and retaining this Stalker count.
Yep.
Once it gets to like critical mass, there's very little that these roaches can do, and Zealots are tanking for them.
Yeah, there are quite a few roaches now, though. They're starting to climb up quite nicely, as the Larvenjecks have been hit quite strong across all these 3 bases. He's spending his money, but eventually here, with just continued reinforcements and force fields, he's going to win this battle.
He's doing all right, although these roaches do move into a good position on this right-hand side. The force fields are still cutting them off quite heavily, and separating, dividing and conquering. Slowly, Lilbow gains a massive advantage with 60 army supply against 50. More roaches flood on in, but this is just too much firepower to deal with.
Wow, what a great start here for Lilbow in game number 1 against Vortix. A great start.
Wasn't expected, but there you go. GG here. Can the French Lilbow seal it out against the man spawning down in the bottom right-hand corner? As our red Zerg, it is Mouse Vortix. And up to the top right, we have our blue Protoss. Representing XMG, it is Lilbow.
So, Frost here is one of the bigger maps. It's not the biggest that we have in the World Championship Series map pool. One of the ladder maps. If you don't play ladder, then shame on you. You should be playing so you can kind of discover these maps and feel out how they play yourself. But I'm expecting a much more standard opening coming out from Vortix there. I think there was a couple of mind games and a couple of assumptions that he made earlier on that didn't give him the best of starts that he could have had. And going into this next one, I'd be expecting more of a standard regular spawning pool first here. And I wouldn't go as far as to say that Vortix would go hatchery first here, because there's no way that Lilbow isn't going to have a cannon rush or something in one of his builds to use.
Obviously, at this point in time, Lilbow here with this pylon in is less likely to have a forge going down. We know this, but Vortix doesn't. So it's very important that Vortix does cover himself like that.
But he's not going to. He's going to go hatch first anyway.
Oh, wow. Sick.
So if Lilbow was to be going for a cannon rush here, he could have been quite successful. Yeah. It's never guaranteed against a hatchery first, but it's definitely a good start. But that's not going to be the case here. Look at Vortix's overload. Actually pokes down to the left first, then goes up, and that'll see any early probe that comes in. Yep. So he's actually got a bit of defense, or a bit of a heads up if there was to be those type of rushes.
Yeah, good insurance policy. I think it's important to note that before we get into this second game, whilst we were talking about Lilbow during the break, I understand fully that I am the least gangster person on this planet. So let's not read into any of that.
He is opening for a very greedy build here. Very greedy, actually. Much greedier than Vortix's build. Nexus and then Gateway, then Pylon, then 2 gases is a very greedy build. He has almost no protection against early openings here. And he hasn't taken the second gas yet. I think that should come in a second.
Yeah,
they're usually both taken at the same time, but he's taken one first and then the second one after.
A little bit later. I guess it just lines up with his ideal position here.
Yeah, but a great start for him in this game. And if you didn't know, Lilbow is full-time with playing with XMG. No school, no nothing. He's just playing day in, day out.
From Dijon in France?
Yes.
I probably pronounced that wrong. I can't remember. I'm not very good at foreign names, I'll be honest. I can pronounce Cologne or Cologne or whatever. Anyway, so aside from that, We now have the cybernetics core on the way for Lilbow. And this is a good opening for him, because not only is it greedy, and it's also really, really powerful. It allows you so many openers from here. He can go for the gateway aggression. He's got the cybernetics core quickly. He can go for Stargate very fast if he wants to. But he does have to be careful, because obviously there's no wall at the front of his natural. So that's his next step, I would think.
Yeah, next pylon should be there. And maybe tech in the wall, maybe a couple of gateways, depending on what his overall strategy here is.
This probe's just poking around. He didn't see a third at either of these locations, so that's important to note for him. We've seen Vortix in the past actually go for relatively late thirds, playing around on 2 base for quite long.
Yeah.
And, well, certainly bringing that out again.
Well, Vortix pokes in there and sees the Zealot, sees the timing of the Nexus, obviously, with the Overlord, and is like, well, boy, all right, let's buckle down here. Probably rolls up his sleeves a little bit, saying this is going to be some hard work, because this guy has opened up with a very, very good build. And there is a Stargate in the wall with a gateway. It's not a full wall, not yet.
Yeah.
But will be with another structure, and there it is.
Ta-da.
And the Overlord did not spot the Stargate yet. It's not super important to spot the Stargate, because obviously the Phoenix is going to pop out and kill the Overlord anyway, which gives you naturally enough time here. But we are going to see a Stargate play. From the Stargate play, and then the guess has been taken quite fast on the natural by the looks of it. It most likely is going to be Stargate over into Robotics Facility, most likely. Most likely. But Vortix doesn't know that yet, and he's building 8 Lings because he's not sure what it is yet. And that's actually, you know, a little bit safe there. He's playing quite safe. His build wasn't the greediest of greediest. He's building these additional Lings, having a look out there.
Yeah, just going to head into the middle. And obviously, normally, you know, as you said before, the Phoenix will just reveal itself on that Overlord. Yeah. But there, from that point on, with the Stargate in the wall, I think, you know, Vortix can take the insurance that, you know, oh, well, that's in the wall. You're not really looking to hide that. I'm going to keep a Ling on your third bases. Make sure that you're not taking that super quick, and just play out from there.
And he's just looking for the follow-up here, because there are certain builds that open up with Phoenix first, but then go into a Colossus all-in. I think Mana used it against Jaedong in the Intellectual Masters this past weekend. So he's looking for the follow-up here. I'm not too sure if he'll see it, maybe. Okay, so sees one gateway, and that's almost enough to say, okay, with the gateway at this time, it's not a fast tech straight away, so it seems, and like there's no Forge that he spotted either, seems like regular play. Well, I say that, then the Forge and Robotics Facility coming. So with the Forge and Robotics Facility, +1 attack, obviously, and Robotics Facility looking towards teching up to Colossus here. So a standard game coming out from Lilbow.
Yeah, the Forge is a time that the upgrades don't line up fully to get really aggressive with to actually push on forward. So third base should be on the way eventually.
And Vortix is, you know, spores in the right places at the moment on his natural third and main. He's teched up to lair quite fast and is getting a Roach War. Notice how he's got no evolution chambers yet. This is something that Vortix has always been and always preferred to do. Leave the upgrades till late and then get 2 at the same time. So he can focus a lot more on his unit production, which by the looks of it may be the Hydralist end in this game upon seeing the units Phoenix out like this. And he may try to hit a timing. He's always been a Hydralist Corruptor style of player.
Yeah, we've certainly seen that a lot from Vortix, and it's come with great power in terms of sheer numbers. But Lilbow's already preempting that, and it's very clear, you know, with getting that Robo Bay before him throwing down this Nexus, he knows the style of Vortix, and it's very clear that he's prepared for him.
And the Nexus is down, and it has been spotted. The Phoenixes actually pick up a couple of drones and find a Queen on the wrong side of the hatchery, or lair, should I say.
No. But because, well, he's actually going to get away there with that Phoenix. It could have been close, but he's throwing down Infestation Pit very quickly.
Yeah, that seems like we're going to be seeing some Swarm Hosts in this game. I wouldn't really be expecting anything else at this point. That with the Swarm Host, though, if he's going to play this style and not build any Roaches with his Roach speed, that he's going to allow this third base to be taken very easily. And so far, Lilbow's done good. He's done good. He's got the Phoenix harassment going. He's got his Twilight Council. And with the Twilight Council being made this early, by the way, and him not going for the armor upgrade, by the looks of it, he's going to get +2. He most likely is going to try, from what I can imagine it to be, a Colossus and Stalker timing with +2 and Blink.
Yeah. And it's really, really strong to hit. I mean, we've seen it work wonders in the past. But this is interesting from Vortix because, to be honest with you, he's actually going for Pathogen Glands.
Wow, I didn't expect that to come out from here. So he's got his Ling Infestor. I really thought we'd see Swarm Hosts here. I mean, I've seen and heard that he uses Swarm Hosts a lot, but I guess not. I guess this map's not the best for Swarm Hosts here. But overall, okay, so he's starting to increase his unit count, but I don't think Lilbow should be worried at all. He's got a very high sentry count. Colossus and Void Ray being added into the mix.
It's going to be...
There's definitely an opportunity for Lilbow's army to hit quite strong against Zergling Infester. He's looking, he sees Infestation Pit, sees the Evos. Doesn't know exactly what it is yet.
Yeah. Once he sees, like, an upgrade go down in terms of the... melee, for example, on Lings and stuff like that, he can start to interpret what's actually going on. Because
we'll see the Infestors too.
Yeah.
But it looks like with a Hive coming down too, which would unlock the Ultras Cavern, blah, 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 blah. And a 4th base being taken. But definitely feel that there is an opportunity here for Lilbow to strike. He pokes in and sees the Hive. And the Infestors. And he's going to pick one of them up. Oh, okay. Well, he picks one up just to die with another fungal.
Could have picked another one up there, actually, as it did walk right under him. But he's going to get... there's transfuses. Nicely done.
Two, yeah. So, I mean, the 2 Phoenixes can get away and pick up 2 Infestors in the fight, potentially, here. But we have 3 extra gateways being added on, which would rise the gateway count to 10. Plus 2 attack has been chrono boosted. Likewise is Blink. 3 Colossus. I think we're going to see, a massive Stalker increase now. 6 additional Stalkers. I'm pretty sure from this point he's looking to attack. He already had plans to attack anyway from what his build lined up to be. And now seeing the Hive on its way, there's a clear opportunity to strike before any Hive units can be played in this game.
And it's very clear that he's looking for this timing and trying to unlock it because he's chrono boosting so avidly into that blink, trying to get it out as quickly as possible. He knows his blink and +2 are slightly misaligned and out of place, so chrono boosting into that blink is super important for him to try and catch up and then try and hit this perfectly.
Yeah, he doesn't need to kill his opponent. He can do massive amounts of damage, fall back, take a 4th, and the game continues on. He's just looking to do damage with this next attack. There's the Ultras Cavern. Spinecrawler's coming in to defend on the right-hand flank there if the army was to approach from that side. But Vortix needs to buy himself some time here. He needs to really be able to get these units up. He's got a counterattack of Lings ready set up. His army's decent, but it's not the best to fight against what we have here. And Lilbow's going to move out. The Lings move in, and that's going to pull him back potentially. Which does buy himself time. The Ultra Scav's not that far away from finishing.
Yeah, and now with this blink,
no, he's going to go.
This blink, I mean, he would have liked to have been going, and indeed he is going to, with the reinforcements, just cleaning up these Lings, but they did all right for themselves. They denied a little bit of mining time at least.
And it looks like Vortix here is going to build 7 Corruptors to help out. The Spire's just finished. He doesn't have the best of upgrades right now. He doesn't have the best army. Fungals are going to be quite important here to land.
Yeah, this is a very, very strong time. He has to be careful. He does catch a few of this. Noticeably, that sentry with full energy.
Nice spreads.
And he does get quite that good spread, you're
right.
Nice
force fields.
He catches a few of those units. More force fields will end up falling, though, before these Spinecrawlers even burrow into position properly.
There's the time warp.
And needs to really slow those units down. If he catches them on the ramp, that would be nice, actually. But there's still a very, very good spread here of these Stalkers doing quite a bit of damage. Infested Terrans have landed right next to those Colossi, though. If they start focusing them down, they could do quite a bit. He's going to try and overwhelm as best he can do. 90 army supply against 83. Brings down 1.
Blink, 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 blink.
Can he bring all of this down in the end? The Blink Stalkers are a good follow-up from this, and if he just keeps on piling through, he might have critical mass and break him.
Yeah, there's Roach and Lings coming in, and remember 2-2 upgrades aren't that far away either. But there's a confident blink forward here by Lilbow, and he's going to cut the reinforcements, which are going to come from different pathways now, and a Colossus remains alive. It seems like he potentially hit his timing, but it's not over yet. 2-2 on the way, 4 Ultralisks on the way. There's still a lot of Roaches, a lot of Queens. The 4th base is going to be broken here by the looks of it.
But he's doing that damage, right?
Yeah, and the Mothership Core died. That was actually a very important part that he missed, was the time warps. That would have changed the fight quite drastically. But we are going to see the Ultralisk, 6 Ultralisks. If he loses his army, then the game, I'd say, may even still be in favor of Vortix. So he's got to be very careful these next couple of fights.
He does. He has to separate these Stalkers up. The Chitinous plating is not done for the Ultras, so they won't be able to have the good tanking that they need to against this. As long as he separates his units, he should be okay. He sees an Ultralisk. Now is the time. He has to position himself properly. One Ultralisk falls without any transfuses actually landing on it, and he separated up these Stalkers quite nicely. There's one Ultralisk at the back that did die to a few Stalkers, but he will be able to push this back for now.
Yeah, I think he's going to defend this Colossus. That's a lot of Ultralisks.
Especially since they're swinging in from either side. Lilbow has to get out of there.
Yeah, and now the 4th base can be taken, and there's an obvious counterattack option here for Vortix.
There really is.
He's got a couple of Fungals available. If he locked a Fungal on this, by the way. The Infestors on the right-hand side, they're trying to get past the Ultras, but it's too fat.
Poor little fellas.
You fat Ultralisk.
And the thing is now is that the Lilbow, he's trying to prepare for these Ultralisks, but all the while we see Vortix with a little bit of a bank going up to Greater Spire. So if Lilbow can't do this, he's going to try. He's going to try and separate some of these units up, but the Ultralisk is still providing ample tanking, and that Colossus will end up falling as well. This is too much for Lilbow.
And like I said, he did hit quite strongly, but he's kind of overstayed a little bit. May have, you know, looked at going back there, and Vortix has got a lot of units out right now. Great blink there. He's able to pick off one of these Ultralisks. There are no Infestors, so it's going to be hard to keep track of these Stalkers all times. Yeah,
it's good kiting potential here from Lilbow, who brings in an Immortal. He's throwing down an extra Robo facility, but again, the next step is coming from Vortix. Slowly here, that Greater Spire is about to finish, and then he doesn't actually have any Corruptors. He would be all right to make some, but he doesn't have any gas either.
Yeah, that's a very smart addition there by Vortix. Very, very intelligent. Going over towards the Greater Spire. These Stalkers, even though they're great against Broodlords, what are they going to do? Blink underneath with Fungals and Ultralisks and Roaches? Not so much. If Vortix attacks here, it's a mistake, because he doesn't need to fight right now. He's got a big, big tech incoming. He knows his opponent's on 3 bases. It would be a mistake to fight in this. There's Immortals, there's a lot of Stalkers. He's putting a lot of indirect pressure onto his opponent. But if he takes a fight here, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah, especially since he only has 4 Ultras with this army. It's not really a base-breaking composition against this kind of army that's so well spread out, so prepared for these Ultralisks, and he's actually going to go for it on either a flank. How well is this going to work out? These units up to the north are bottled up, as are the ones down to the south. There's Immortals as well as Cannons also working down to the south. He's going to trade off a little bit, though.
Is this even working for him, do you think?
I think so, in the end.
I'm not sure. There's these Ultras and Cannons on the high ground.
He has the Transfuses.
I mean, Immortals. He's losing a lot, though. This is a very good position for a fight for Lilbow.
The thing is he's trading off enough, I feel, to then have the follow-up, because he killed so many Stalkers, right? What are you going to do now when Broodlords enter the field?
Yeah, that's the best part. I don't think the fight was cost-effective head-on. Yeah. Because look at the supplies, but, I mean, taking a 4th base isn't going to be that difficult for Lilbow right now. This is why I was a little bit wary of that attack. He could have added in Corruptors with all the Ultralisks.
But I think one of the good things about if he takes a 4th base as close to him here, if Broodlords come on, he's going to take a hat-trick there. If he actually just sits above here with Broodlords, how do you deal with that with Stalkers? It's very difficult.
Very, very difficult to do. So 6 Broodlords coming in. So even though the fight wasn't the best of fights there, it's not going to be easy to fight against these Broodlords.
Trades off for the greater good.
Yep. Suppose so.
The Observer just saw that, though. So now he has to be... Well, he's still making 3 Immortals. I mean, yes, it's important to deal with
there's no money to tech switch right now.
Yeah.
You kind of have to stay, I imagine, on Stalkers. You try to go up to any air units, you're going to have a very, very difficult time. So he'll have to try to smash through the ground army and then hope to God that his Stalker count of 4 can get to the Broodlords.
He, like, blinks into the jaws of death when it comes to those Ultras, and I'm not sure that's going to work out too well. The Broodlords now positioning themselves forwards. Fungals is going to help out quite a lot in this. He has to move back. This is a really, really hard spot for Lilbow here.
Cancel incoming.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
It's very difficult here for Lilbow, as now, unfortunately for him, Vortix just has an army that he can't compete with, and what's he going to try and do with 5 Stalkers and 3 Archons that are not going to get under those Broodlords anyway?
No, even if he tries his Lings, it'll just pounce at any moment. And this has been played out well by Vortix here. Even though he was taking a lot of damage, it looked like he could die to that attack. He didn't. He survived. He got to the tech. He was able to continue on with this game. And as you can see, he's in a leading position. And it's almost impossible to fight this army. Stargate and Fleet Beacon's coming in, but boy, you do not have a lot of money for this.
Yeah, he's just running around in circles trying to buy some time, any time he possibly can do, knowing that his opponent's army is going to crush him heads on. As he's going to turn for the fight, but unfortunately for him, Fungals land over the entirety of this army, and Broodlings are going to rain down from the skies and kill everything off.
Yeah, Stalkers jump around, but it's not going to be enough. They will instantly die.
Good game. 1-1 apiece, as we have spawning down to the south our Red Zerg. Representing Mouse Sports, it is Vortix. And up to the north, we have our blue Protoss representing XMG. It is Lilbow.
Lilbow the gangster.
I wonder if he is a gangster.
No, probably not.
No.
He's played StarCraft.
There's no gangsters in StarCraft. Confirmed by Apollo.
Not in France.
Don't tell Todd that.
Todd. Actually, the funny thing is with the XMG, I was looking at their website earlier, and all of the StarCraft 2 team and players all wear black shades.
Yeah. Dude, Todd like takes them to every event and then like randomly puts them on. Like, why are you wearing these shades? You're inside, man.
XNG bringing up a gangster squad. Very early scout coming out here from Lilbow with a pile inside the main base, then a really, really fast scout here. You know, there's no real super big important reason to scout earlier on here unless you're expecting aggressive build out from Vortix here. And he's going to see it really early on. Could trick him, thinking that there is a pylon on the low ground and potentially Forge Nexus. Forge more likely that they Forge expand here, because you don't really see a probe this scout this early with the gateway expand. Yeah,
it's kind of strange. So Vortix is going to play it defensively, definitely going for spawning pool. You can't really take the expansion. Although that being said, I actually want to go back on myself slightly there. It's harder to cannon rush on this map because of how much room there is behind the mineral line. So you can try and get away with it as a Zerg, but it's still a little scary when you don't know what your opponent's up to.
And there is the probe and the drones, 2v1, and pylon block.
We run away. He's going to have to take another base for now.
Yeah. And this may push overall Vortix into taking 3 hatcheries. Depends on what he scouts with his Overlord here. But if he takes the one over here, you can't really just play 2 hatcheries early off this one. And he's just going to go, oh, he actually let the pylon complete.
And that was interesting because he didn't take the expansion.
Yeah, he knows now that it's not a Forge expand or a Nexus. He's like, I'm not taking my Nexus over there, man. You've got a gateway expand. That's not the case. I'm going to take it where I want to take it. And it does get delayed by quite a lot.
Yeah, quite a lot indeed.
That is a lot.
That is really a lot. I mean, the one thing that's going to go slightly in Vortix's favor is, his Queen's out nice and early. But aside from that, this is a big delay. And this is a cool build from Lilbow in terms of how he scouted out, when he scouted out, and what he's revealed to his opponent via Overlords.
Yeah, it was a mix of mind games, mix of using the probe to block it and so on.
Yeah.
And it is decent. We do have a Stalker that's being made here. So it's a Mothership Core Stalker instead of the regular Zealot. So the Stalker is going to be able to put pressure on. Because obviously the Stalker not only can defend like the Zealot and Mothership Core can, but can move across the other side of the map. And especially when being chrono boosted out like this, he can put pressure onto the third base. He can kill off these 4 lings quite fast.
And I want to say that he's anticipating his opponent not going for as quick a gas, because you can't, with a Stalker, you have to be careful about the speed being finished eventually.
This is quite a late Nexus coming in as well from Lilbow. And Spine Crawl has been made because he's like, well, what are you doing? And sees a Stalker coming out here. So the Spine Crawl will be uprooted from the main and put down onto the natural here. And he knows that, very similar to Protoss versus Terran, if the Protoss player dedicates to a couple of units earlier on, you just have that bunker, it's kind of deflected. Likewise for a Spine Crawler in this scenario as well.
Jeez, second Stalker now coming out as well. This is quite a bit of pressure indeed. You can control this really nicely, as long as...
And without a Spine here, he could actually lose a Queen quite easily against 2 Stalkers in the Mothership Core.
So Vortix covering himself quite nicely.
Yeah.
And maybe lose a few lings. Got one at the end there. Got a second one as well. So... and he forces a few lings as well, although Vortix doesn't overcommit. He goes straight back into drones. He's getting double gas in the main to catch up with lost position.
It's a nice build here, and he keeps obviously away. Keeps the creep spread down, just picking off creature over there. He also keeps away Vortix from a fast third base too.
He was trying to go in there for a second. You got to be careful, but he will pull away for a second there. Repositions the Spine Crawler, so it does cover the ramp a little bit further.
Robotics facility here.
Whoa! All right, well.
This is cool, I think. I mean, depends on if it is going to be the immortal push, which is the first thing that everybody jumps to when seeing this.
Yeah.
Because keeping the economy so low, Vortix so early on in the game, is pretty good against when you're trying to use an immortal push. Because obviously the Vortix, or the Zerg player, should I say, wants to be able to climb up quite fast when it comes to his economy and also unit production. But limited off 2 bases is going to be a struggle for him.
And we have the layer on the way here for Vortix, which was a little earlier than I was expecting in this game. I wonder where... I guess he's just going to go to Gliria Constitution and try and keep himself defended that way.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Because I think he feels that, there's got to be something going on. There's got to be some kind of aggression from after that poke.
And there is the first Immortal.
All right.
Overlord's going to die inside the main base without getting too much information. Zergling on the front, though, may spot it. Yeah. So he sees the robotics facility. So
and he saw Chrono Boost into it as well.
Yeah. I wonder what he's going to do now. So you can kind of imagine that this is going to be an immortal push now. So what is going to be the response here of Vortix?
Get the Gliria Constitution. Get it. Get it. There we go. So
plus 1 attack, roach speed. No other structures from the layer here.
And
no
actually,
fast third. It's kind of limited.
He didn't get Zergling speed, right? So
yeah,
it's just pure Roach defense. Or maybe with a few Lings in there, but they're not going to be anywhere near as effective as they would normally be.
This is because the economy is quite low and production is quite low from Vortix. Is that Lilbow doesn't need to overcommit to a push out when he does this. Obviously, I mean, he can come down and be like, oh, you've just now taken your third, do a bit of damage, and then recall out, or something along the lines. But he has stopped his pro production. He doesn't know exactly what he's going up against. So this is a lot of theory crafting on what Vortix is doing. But Lilbow doesn't know any of this. He knows that the third was a little bit delayed. He kept his opponent back. He hurt his economy, hurt his production, and now is coming in to finish the series off with this Immortal push. It's going to be 3 Immortals and then the Warp Prism.
I will say good luck to Lilbow, because normally whenever we see someone try and hit Vortix with this, he comes in from all sides and can deal with it, but...
So few roaches.
Yeah, and this is Heavy Rain, a map where it can be difficult to actually get proper surrounds because of how much time you have to spend wiggling around all these pathways.
If these roaches get caught in the open here...
Where are they going?
They're going for a counter-attack, by the looks of it.
Jeez, that's ballsy. This is going to be...
Roach Borrow's being made, or Borrow and Roach Tunneling Claws.
I mean, he doesn't know where his opponent is right now in terms of positioning, but likewise, Lilbow doesn't know that all of those Roaches just move over to the left-hand side. He needs to go with those Roaches now and buy time.
Vortix is going to sacrifice his third. He's going to have to defend for it. There's no way he defends his third.
Absolutely no way, you're right. And even that Spines is set up in a position that's kind of...
What is he doing? Is he recalling?
I mean, he has to do something, right? Those Roaches
he doesn't want to. He obviously doesn't want to recall, but he may be forced to. He gets forced to recall.
Oh wow! Roaches, get out! Run away, Roaches! Run away! Oh, he gets the sentry with a lot of energy, and well, there was plenty more sentries where that came from, unfortunately for him. So he does lose quite a few of those Roaches, but he buys so much time.
Buys more time. So he lost what, maybe 6, 7 Roaches, but has built more than 6 or 7.
Yeah.
In time when that movement came out.
I mean, there's 11 in production right now, so this is a good move for him. Very, very good.
There is not an observer with this, so Burrow and Tunneling Claw is going to be pretty important.
And why are these units here right now?
I don't know. They were warped in, but hotkeyed with the army.
Yeah, that's a sad loss there for Lilbow. He doesn't want to lose any units in this push. I mean, and losing that many Stalkers just there, 3, going down from, you know, those 11 to 8, you need all the firepower you can get behind those force fields.
Well, a couple of Roaches in the middle are going to get caught.
But he's going to go for another counter.
Yeah, and he's got Burrow this time and can actually go into force fields and stuff.
And there's no observer out right now. It's in production, but if he were to get that robo facility, if he were to get... No, he's not going to get that robo facility.
Not in time, no.
No, so he could have denied that, actually, and Burrow would have been extra strong, but...
Well, this becomes weird. He's trying to get up to the Infestation Pit, which you can only imagine is for Swarm Hosts here, to Burrow, in hope of no observer, but there is one. And now we have this weird base race, and there are no drones out on the map, by the way. They're trying to defend. And there's quite a few Roaches from behind here. No time warp again. The Mothership Core not used again.
A lot of the drones trying to filter through some of these force fields and get on top of these units.
Nice micro as well from these Roaches.
And this is going to be really hard for Lilbow to do anything about because, I mean, he's lost all of his probes back at home. There's like 13 left out on the field. He's left 4 sentries at the back. Look at all these sentries with energy that haven't done anything. They could have been difference makers.
I think this is a ring around the rosy here, as we like to call it in England.
Poor little fellas. Look at them. They're like, oh, only just now did I realize I have these. They have so much energy.
Really nice play from Vortix. Really good play, considering. Yeah. This is 2 base economy. This is limited production. This is not bad. This is pretty good.
This is pretty good.
You're right. This is pretty good from him. The counterattacks, there's good surround there. And now Lilbow's like, I was so close, but so far.
Oh, GG.